Alright, we're here. This is What the Fuck Wrestling Talk, and we just watched the TLC pay-per-view. I'm Tyler.
I'm Nick.
And we're going to review a little bit about it. What was the first match on there, Nick?
Well, starting with the kickoff show, we had the WWE Cruiserweight Championship featuring two of the highlights of 205 Live every week. Buddy Murphy, the current champion, defending against Cedric Alexander.
Well, you see now, I'm going to admit I was a little late to this one. I did not get to see this match.
That's unfortunate because you actually missed one of the better matches of the night. It was high speed, high intensity, very acrobatic and athletic match. Buddy Murphy looked great, just like always. Cedric Alexander, again, proving why the company put so much faith in him and keeping him the champion for so long. Really good match. One of the things that stood out to me, and I think this is unfortunate that you missed it, was the way that they shot this match. They used only handheld cameras on this match. They didn't use the fixed hard camera like they normally do at all in this match, and it gave it a very different feel.
Okay. Now I've watched a few 205s, but I know you watch it a lot more than I do because I'm more main roster stuff. But is that how do they usually shoot 205 like that?
They're a little bit more sports-like in their presentation on 205. I think this is the first time I've noticed that they've done it completely that way. So, in my opinion, I think it was a good experiment, and I think it worked out. I think it gave the match a unique visual appeal to it that really made it seem more like a sporting kind of event than a traditional WWE-style wrestling match.
Now, I've been to a lot of indies, and a lot of indies, they use GoPros. They use some gimbals, but they use a lot of handheld equipment. You think they tried to make this more, since you know that it's on Wednesday nights before NXT, if I'm correct? Do you think they tried to make this more of a indie style match with the handheld, just the art and the view of it?
I think so. I think in the look and feel department, it definitely had more of that indie kind of vibe. And I think that results from Triple H being sort of the primary creative driving force behind 205 Live these days. It's definitely gotten better since he took it over, and it's definitely taken on more of that indie vibe. And I think this is just kind of the next step in him playing around with the presentation to try to give it something distinct and unique to separate it from the main roster.
Well, okay, I understand that. Now see, everybody, me and Nick, we do a grading system. We watch each match. We sit there when we do a video chat while we're watching the matches, and we give it a grade. I can't give it a grade, but what would you give this overall grade?
Overall, I thought it was a great match between these two guys. I don't think it was the best match that these two have had. I think the highlight there would have been Super Showdown, where Buddy Murphy won the title in his home country of Australia. But overall, I'd say this was a solid B+, maybe even an A- for me. I really enjoyed it.
Well, that's a really high grade because as me and you were talking about, and we'll get into that as we keep going, but the whole pay-per-view in general, before we get too far, it was kind of a, I don't want to say a letdown, but...
it's a bit of a mixed bag.
Yeah, it was kind of getting to that point to where I was sitting there thinking, this TLC, and I ain't seen no ladders.
Well, we did get ladders in the next match on the kickoff show between Elias and Bobby Lashley, featuring Lio Rush, which is a guitar match.
Right.
A guitar hanging, and I guess the stipulation was whoever got the guitar first won.
You know, if it was me, and I think you agree, I would have put it whoever smashes the guitar through the other person first wins the match.
Yeah, that would have made more sense because as it was Elias won the match by grabbing the guitar, and that was it, and it was a little anticlimactic. The action in the match earlier was pretty good. A lot of ladder shots, some really stiff ladder shots. Elias took quite the beating a couple times.
Right. Now, see, I did catch this when me and you got in contact right when this one was going down. Now, let's start it off. Elias comes out there. He says, and I thought this was supposed to be on the pay-per-view, actually. But
so did I.
But we were both wrong about that one. Maybe they changed some stuff up. But we're sitting there, we're watching this, and Elias comes out, I am Elias, walk with Elias, blah, blah, blah. He goes to play a song the crowd's into. Renee Young acts like she likes him all of a sudden after months of hating him. And here comes old Lio Rush and Bobby Lashley out to show everybody his ass pose.
Yep, that's exactly right. Yeah, he came out. Elias was singing "Do You Know the Way to San Jose?" Obviously, getting a cheap pop from the crowd there in San Jose.
Right, that is correct. But then, this match overall, though, I thought was pretty good. Like you said, there was a lot of action with the ladders in it. The match started off pretty intense.
Yeah, it was. It was surprising for a kickoff show, and I thought it was a good follow-up to the more athletic cruiserweight opener. It showed the power of these two guys, and I think Bobby Lashley, it's something they really need to highlight more with him, is his strength. But Elias can hold his own in there. I mean, he's a big dude. He's got a cool gimmick. Crowd loves him, even when he's insulting them. So I thought this was a good win for Elias. And a great way to showcase both of these two wrestlers' strengths.
Yeah, I know Elias is over. Let's talk about Bobby Lashley. Let's talk about his journey a little bit. He was in WWE before, and they kind of they didn't do nothing with him.
True.
He goes to TNA. I just heard some money drop there. He went to TNA, and I guess the money did drop for him there, and he gets some dreadlocks, but they don't do shit with him there either.
And then he comes back to WWE, and right out the gate, he's in a weird feud with Sami Zayn that had him doing bizarre comedy skits with men in drag pretending to be his sisters, stuff like that. I think it was a real rocky start on his comeback to WWE, and I know a lot of people find Lio Rush kind of annoying, but I think Lio Rush brings some personality to Bobby Lashley's act that was sorely missing before.
Well, let's be honest. I'm sitting there, I'm watching this. When he comes back, they're trying to make him babyface, they're trying to make him an all-American man, and all this bullshit, and I just get that feeling, I'm just watching it saying that they're totally screwing this up again.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
We're going to do an obstacle course against Sami Zayn, which makes no sense at all. Where did they come up with this writing?
I don't know. I mean, you got a guy who looks like Bobby Lashley, right? He doesn't even necessarily need to say much, if anything at all, right? He was supposedly, his catchphrase thing was back to dominate, and the guy has the physical presence to just dominate the ring without saying a word.
Right.
And I think he could have come back as just this silent butt kicker who did all his talking through his actions in the ring.
I tell you what, talking about butt kicking, I think the dogs behind me got a little TLC match going on. They don't want to say yapping and squealing for some reason, but I think they calmed down. But I'm with you. You got Lio Rush come in, and let's be honest now. A lot of the old ECW fans will remember this. Back in the day, Sabu and RVD were a tag team.
Mm-hmm.
And they had, and I can't think of his name off top, they had this guy, it was annoying as shit, that all he did was blow a whistle the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's exactly what Lio Rush is to me, especially when they were giving him the microphone during the matches, and all he would drive me insane.
That was a bad choice.
I noticed they quit that.
Thankfully, yeah, I think they realized that was not the right way to use Lio Rush.
But now we went through Bobby Lashley a little bit, and I think me and you both agree that him being heel is better than what they did have him as.
Yeah, it's definitely a better direction. They're still trying to find their feet with it, but I think overall it's a better direction for him.
I think if they went, and I think they tried to do this, but I don't think it's going to work. I think they need to put him with a group, kind of like Evolution was, or I don't want to say the NWO because that's far beyond, but like Evolution, a 3-man group where he's the power man like Batista.
Well, they sort of had a thing going on with like Baron Corbin and Drew McIntyre and him, but with all these injuries and people getting sick and the changes to the roster, that seems like it's falling apart.
Yeah, well, we'll get into old Baron Corbin here shortly, but let's I give that match overall. I mean, it was shorter.
It was shorter. It had some good hard-hitting spots with the ladders. End of the match was Elias got the guitar. He wins. But I think Lio Rush sneaks up behind him, grabs a ladder, and Elias gets nailed with it and gets hit a couple times by Lashley.
Right, Lashley gets the guitar and smashes it over him. I'd give it a solid B. What would you give it?
I'm thinking B is pretty fair. I might go B minus just because of how short the match was. I think it could have used another couple minutes to really help both of these guys showcase their talents. But being on the kickoff show, you don't have a whole lot of time to work with in the beginning, so I can understand that. So I think B minus or B.
I can agree with that. I pretty much gave it to B for the fact that they did put themselves through some big bumps there, you know.
Yeah.
But let's move on. What was the next match on the card? Was the actual pay-per-view startup?
The actual pay-per-view, and this blew me away when it happened because I could have picked either of the other two matches that were actually on the kickoff show for this spot, and to switch spots with this match. It was the R-Truth and Carmella versus Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox mixed match challenge.
All right, before we get into that match, how and this parental advisory, how the fuck, okay, in the mixed match challenge you got Mr. Awesome there, The Miz and Asuka, and you got was it AJ Styles and Charlotte Flair, I think was an example, and Bayley and Finn Balor / Apollo Creed. But how in the fuck do those two teams come to be the final two standing?
It's a good question. I didn't watch all of Mixed Match Challenge, I'll admit it. I watched the first round's worth of matches. There were like 2 rounds this time. But then there were a lot of substitutions. A lot of people that I was interested in watching got changed out with other people due to injuries, illnesses, things like that. Changing creative ideas, I would imagine, on the back end. And I kind of lost interest as a result. But somehow these are the two that we ended up with in the finals.
So we got Jinder Mahal, who's ex WWE champion.
That's correct.
We'll just put that out there, even though he's a Buddhist or whatever the hell he is now. You got Alicia.
The Jinder Mahal story is a discussion in and of itself, but yeah.
That is true. You got Alicia Fox, who she won the title back in the day, I believe.
She's been around a long time, longer than most people realize.
But they pretty much just play her as a gimmick role.
Yeah, they play her as just a crazy nut job kind of character.
Right, she's Alexa Bliss's bitch. You know, most of the time.
I wouldn't say lackey.
Yeah, you know, I'm just saying, call a spade a spade.
Yeah, okay.
And then on the other side there, you got, and I've been saying it, but I think Carmella is very improved, or Carmella, excuse me, is very improved from what she was.
Carmella's in-ring ability has definitely improved from the time that she had the SmackDown title. I can't argue with that. I still don't think she's quite to the point where she's ready to be in the title picture again, especially given how fierce the competition is in that picture right now. But she's definitely improved.
And then we got R-Truth, and me and you talked about this. R-Truth in TNA was awesome.
Yeah.
He was awesome. And what they got him doing now is kind of embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. The character that he's playing is kind of a buffoon, honestly. His character is just stupid, like mentally stupid. Not stupid as in it's a stupid character.
Right.
But when the bell rings, he's still got it in the ring.
Oh yeah, he still does have it. He's still got the physique. He's still flexible. He's still got the endurance. He can do it all.
Which is a shame that they're not making better use of it.
Well, with that being said, the match goes on. Carmelo, there's a lot of botches in this match between Alicia Fox and Carmella, and it's a little rough near the end, especially near the end.
Yeah, it was. I think Carmella ended up using her submission move. I think it's called the Code of Silence to tap out Alicia Fox. But right before that, the sequence before that was just really awkward with Alicia and Carmella just kind of awkwardly sliding over each other in a way that was supposed to be roll-up attempts, I think.
I'm not sure what they were. I didn't know she was trying to pull out her weave or what.
Yeah, it was weird.
It was bad. And the thing I was most disappointed about is the dance break, you know. I really wanted to see that one-legged twerk that she does, but the two little guys got in there and kind of ruined that.
Yeah, the Singh brothers accompanied Jinder Mahal. It's nice to see both of them back. Jinder has a tendency to injure them rather frequently, so it's nice to see them both healthy at the moment until the next time Jinder injures one of them with a botched kalash. But they jumped into the ring and they started doing some kind of, I guess, Hindi dance, which was interesting. It seemed like there might have been a dance-off going on, but it turned out to be a ruse, and they attacked R-Truth and Carmella, which ended the dance break, unfortunately, and I think led to the finish not too long after that.
Right. So, overall, after watching that match, I give it a C, maybe a C+.
I would go with a C. I mean, it was entertaining for what it was.
For an opening match.
Yeah, I didn't have high expectations for it, and honestly, I thought it was going to be on the kickoff show. So, as a show opener, I think it was just okay.
So and I don't want to get too far in the show, people going to hear it anyway. So Carmella gets number 30, and so does the Truth. So now that, and Newsbreak, if you ain't watched the TLC, Asuka wins. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. But does this... Spoiler alert. But does this bring another Carmella versus Asuka?
I really hope not. One of the stipulations for winning the Mixed Match Challenge this year was that the two members of the winning team would both be able to be the number 30 entrant at the Royal Rumble for their respective genders, which is generally considered in storyline to be the best spot to come in because, you'll be brand new and fresh, and everybody else has been in there theoretically for upwards of like 60 minutes or so. So R-Truth will be the number 30 entrant in the Men's Royal Rumble. Carmella will be the number 30 entrant in the Women's Royal Rumble. I think there is, theoretically, that does mean it is in her favor to win in storyline, but I don't think Carmella's going to win the Women's Royal Rumble. I don't think it's the best storyline that they could choose to go with. And I really don't want to see Carmella and Asuka again anytime soon. Carmella has gotten better, but after the embarrassment that they put Asuka through with James Ellsworth, I just don't want to see it again.
That's we'll get into that, the Asuka whole treatment thing. That was disgusting in my opinion. But let's go on to the next match after that.
All right, I think this was probably your favorite match on the card. Next up was the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match, 3-way.
Oh God, yeah.
Champion.
I hate those pancake throwing sons of bitches. I can't stand them. For those who
didn't see it, it was The Bar, which is Sheamus and Cesaro, current champions, defending against the New Day, which is Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, and Big E, and the Usos, which are Jimmy and Jay Uso, in a weird 3-way tag match in which only 2 people were ever in the ring at any one time for some reason.
Oh, that match sucked.
It was mostly The Bar and the New Day in the ring. The Usos surprisingly did not participate much in this match, aside from a few high spots where they went around super kicking everybody, a couple suicide dives out of the ring to the ringside area. But for the most part, this match came down to the New Day and The Bar.
Let me go on a rant before we go on, Nick. Okay?
Yeah,
I don't want people to think that I'm just hating on the New Day. The New Day, they're very talented. They're very talented. I cannot stand them coming out, throwing fucking pancakes, and playing that stupid ass trombone and dancing. I get there's got to be some fun. I get it. You got the WWE Championship, Tag Team Championships on the line. You're at a major pay-per-view. You can have a little fun, but after 5 minutes of throwing fucking pancakes into the crowd, I'm tired of it.
I get it, and I know where you're coming from, and I totally understand. But at the end of the day, and again, I'm not 100% behind it. I could do with a little less wackiness. They are all very talented, but they sell a lot of merchandise, and the kids love it.
Right.
And
At the end of the
family
day,
friendly product that they got to appeal to kids. And as long as they keep selling bootios, I don't think they're going to stop.
At the end of the day, they're making money. And I'll tell you, I'm gonna go on a little another rant. I watched SmackDown the other day, and you had the Bar go on a friggin' rap battle versus the Usos with the New Day judging. It's just stupid. Now I remind you, I want everybody to remember this. The Bar, this big badass Bar, is the same people got beat by Braun Strowman and a little 10-year-old kid not too long ago.
Yep, Braun Strowman and Nicholas.
Yeah, everybody just remind that when they say that the SmackDown Tag Team Champions are for real, they got took down by one guy and a 10-year-old kid.
Yep. That's something that I think WWE doesn't want people to remember, but it's hard to forget.
I mean, who even came up with that?
I have no idea. And this match was a bit disappointing to me because I've seen the Bar and the New Day and the Usos in matches a lot better than this. I think the New Day and the Usos, their tag team title feud from 2017 was one of the best, produced some of the best matches of that year. Their Hell in a Cell match was incredible. Their SummerSlam kickoff show was better than anything else on SummerSlam in 2017. But tonight, it just didn't have that magic for me.
You know, I don't want to keep, ranting, but I'm more of an old school guy, and you like the old school too. What happened to tag team? Tag teams were so good during the Attitude Era, WCW, ECW, back in Smoky Mountain days. They were so good. What has happened to the tag team division?
Here's what I've heard, and of course this is all internet and podcast kind of rumor. But the way Bruce Pritchard, who used to be one of the lead creative guys in the WWE, working right alongside Vince McMahon, was that Vince doesn't like tag team wrestling because the way he looks at it is that he gets one match and has to pay 4 people. Right, whereas if they were singles matches, he'd only have to pay 2 people. But because it's a tag team, he's got to pay 4 people. And he gets the exact same amount of match out of that monetary investment. So Vince McMahon has never been a big fan of the tag teams or the tag division. And I guess he sees them as being a necessary evil, that he has to have them because there is a segment of the audience that wants it. But it's not his main priority or his main focus. So the tag team divisions sort of feel underserved in that regard creatively.
Okay, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I wish they'd bring back the tag teams actually that were good. I don't know. I mean, you can't bring back the old guy. I wish they would. Somebody's got to get some chemistry.
No, and I agree with you there. And I miss the old days of like the old Harlem Heat and the Steiner brothers.
Oh, great, yeah, the Freebirds, all them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Well, let's move on before I get even more upset about the damn New Day.
Okay, you want to give this match a grade real quick?
Yeah, I was not a fan. I did not like it. I give it a C.
I would give it a C as well. I thought it was missing some of the magic that these 3 teams have had in the past. I don't know if it was time constraints or just the weird triple threat nature of the match setup, but it just didn't really pop me very much, so I'd give it a C.
I agree. Let's go on to next.
All right, next up we have scheduled Braun Strowman versus Baron Corbin, with the stipulation in this match, if Baron Corbin wins, he gets to become permanent general manager of Monday Night Raw. If Braun Strowman wins, he gets a Universal title shot with Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble.
Well, this thing's just a waste of time, in my opinion.
It was. The build-up to this was Braun Strowman was out with an injury, a legit elbow surgery, and if he didn't show up, then then Baron Corbin would win by forfeit and become the permanent manager. Braun Strowman actually does show up, gets on the microphone, tells Baron Corbin that this is a TLC match and therefore there are no countouts or disqualifications. So theoretically, anybody could come out there and wrestle Corbin for Braun Strowman and it would be legal. So we get what starts out to be like the B team or second string
Apollo Creed.
Yeah, so the very first person revealed by the camera of all people is Apollo Crews when
Oh yeah, Apollo Crews, not Apollo Creed. What am I thinking about?
When Braun Strowman says somebody else could come out and help him, and the crowd went mild, to say to put it in the best possible light. Like nobody.
They were just like, "Who's this guy?"
They're like, Apollo Crews versus Baron Corbin. This is not what we paid to see.
No.
Then they reveal Bobby Roode and Chad Gable.
Okay.
Both underrated. Both guys should be given a lot more time.
I like Bobby Roode personally.
Bobby Roode, I think, is a very solid technician. I think Chad Gable is dreadfully underrated. He's fantastic in the ring. Finn Balor then shows up, and then Heath Slater, who's out there as supposedly Baron Corbin's lackey referee.
Yeah.
He takes off his referee shirt. Kurt Angle comes out. Everybody grabs chairs, and it's basically a 5 or 10 minute beat down on Baron Corbin. The finish is everybody hits their finishing move on Baron Corbin, with Finn Balor topping it off with a coup de grace. Braun Strowman puts one foot on Baron Corbin's chest. Heath Slater counts to 1, 2, 3, and that's it.
The only thing I enjoyed about that whole thing was seeing Kurt Angle.
It was nice to see Kurt Angle come back. Crowd really loved it. They popped big. Everybody was chanting along with his music, and he looked good. I mean, Kurt Angle, given his age and previous injuries and stuff, is always going to be somewhat limited in what he can do, but he looked good tonight.
He did. Should we even give this a grade?
I can't really give it because it wasn't really a match. I mean, I don't know what you would give it as a piece of entertainment.
We'll give it a S for satisfactory.
Yeah, it was satisfactory. I enjoyed it. It started out weird. It started out making me think that it was going to be really lame when I saw Apollo Crews there. Nothing against Apollo Crews. He's very talented, and I wish the guy was more over than he is. Very talented, but it built up from there, so that was good. And when Kurt Angle came out, put a smile on my face. I just wanted to see Baron Corbin get what was coming to him, so yeah.
Yeah, I understand that. Let's and then they shoot I don't know if maybe they shot it before or after, but then it was telling us about how McMahon was coming to Raw.
Yeah, we did. That's been rumored, but we do have confirmation now through between match promo. Vince McMahon will return to Monday Night Raw to, quote, shake things up, as they said on the screen. So December 17th, mark your calendars, ladies and gentlemen, when 70-something-year-old Vince McMahon returns to the ring to shake things up.
Yeah, that ought to be something.
You know what? I have no idea what it's going to be, but I'm going to tune in. I'm going to watch because it's Vince McMahon.
That is true. What was the next match on the card?
So next up we have Natalya versus Ruby Riott in a tables match.
I like this one.
This had an interesting build-up. It's kind of weird. A lot of people were taken aback by how heavily WWE was leaning on the fact that Natalya's father had died recently. Jim the Anvil Neidhart passed away from a sudden heart attack, I believe, not too long ago. And the Riot Squad had been using this to emotionally torment Natalya. Ruby Riott took a pair of Jim's sunglasses, broke them in front of Natalya during a match. She put a picture of Jim the Anvil Neidhart on a table and taunted Natalya with it, saying she was going to put Natalya through her father or something like that.
Yeah.
But despite the weird and maybe off-putting for some people build to this match, I think what we got was a pretty good tables match, and I think probably one of Natalya's best matches in recent memory. And Ruby Riott proving that she's an asset to the main roster and that she could go a lot higher than her current position on the card, I think.
I agree. I agree with that. Natalya had the thunder. She had the fire on her. She had the good fired up look. Ruby Riott. And here's your poll question for today, because I think Ruby Riott's hot as hell. A lot of people don't. Do you feel or do you think that Ruby Riott is hot? That is the poll question of the day. Tyler, give it 100% yes.
I dig the look. I love the old school punk rock look she's got going on. I think she does it well. I think it fits her character, and I think it fits her in-ring style. My biggest takeaway from this match, though, the moment that really made me pay attention, Natty's got Ruby Riott against the ropes on the announce table side. Ruby Riott's outside the ropes, kind of draped over him. Natty goes across the ring, bounces off the far side, comes running in for a spear. Liv Morgan jumps up onto the apron, pushes Ruby Riott out of the way, and catches Natalya's spear full force. The girl gets sent flying backwards off the ring, lands square in the middle of the table, which breaks one of the best looking bumps of the night.
I tell you what, that was a great bump she took. If you watch it in slow motion, she slid across that table for a second before it broke. And she kept sliding.
If that table had not broken, she would have gone headfirst into the announce table.
Liv Morgan's took some bumps, but that was a hellacious bump she took. I started paying attention at that point, and the next thing it really caught my eye, they're on the floor. Ruby Riott's laying there. Natty grabs her by the face and says, "You want to mess with my family, bitch," and just lays a smack on her.
Oh, yeah, that was, Natalya showing some fire and some emotion, and I think she really tapped into it. This feud with Riott taunting her because of her father's death. I think Natalya really tapped into it and let it come out, and that felt real. And that moment really solidified in my mind that this match meant something to Natalya, which helped me get invested in it even more.
Yeah, me and you were talking when Natty had Ruby Riott in the sharpshooter, and Ruby Riott's reaching for the table, and I said, if the table falls and breaks over her head, does Ruby Riott win? As soon as I said that, the table falls and hits Natty, but it don't break.
No, it didn't break, but that was another good spot, because we had both noticed earlier in the match that table had been set up at a very, very steep angle, one that would not be very conducive to putting somebody through it in a traditional way. So I thought that was a clever spot. It worked well. It helped the match flow. It helped keep the balance between the two participants in check, so they both felt like at any moment either of them could get the upper hand. Eventually, towards the end of the match, Natalya reaches under the ring, pulls out her father's jacket, puts it on, and really goes to town on Ruby Riott. Gets her up into a powerbomb position on the top rope, and drops her through a table with a picture of Ruby Riott put on it that she had found under the ring also, and lands on her feet. And I tell you what, it was a great looking shot there from that camera angle as Ruby Riott goes through the table. Natalya lands on her feet, and the look on her face of confidence and victory, it was a great moment.
That was a great moment. I give it a solid B.
I think B, maybe even a B+.
I enjoyed, I'll just say, the black string. I'll just say I enjoyed that part of the match a lot, too.
A little throwback to the Attitude Era. Maybe.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I was wishing there was more, but, you can only get so much, right?
Yeah, well, we are in the PG-13 days.
That's right. I better keep it clean. Let's go on to the next match.
Next up, we had a match that I was almost a little afraid to see because I don't want to see either of these guys lose right now. Finn Balor versus Drew McIntyre.
Okay. Where do I start? This match deserved the Demon.
I agree. I would have loved to see the Demon come out for this one.
And I could have done without old Blondie. I could have done without him.
Yep, spoiler alert, Dolph Ziggler shows up to interfere towards the end.
But, I know it's kind of a short match, though,
Yeah, it was it moved moved along at a pretty good pace. They didn't have a whole lot of time to work with. I don't know what the official time for the match was, but both guys got in their signature moves. We had a Claymore kick from Drew McIntyre. We had a super kick from Dolph Ziggler. We had a throwback to the Van Daminator from Finn Balor, followed up by a coup de grace for the pin. It was a very physical match. A lot of good hits, a lot of solid bumps. Overall, right up until the end, though, it kind of felt like a typical TV match.
Right.
I think we mentioned that while we were watching it. Did not see the Drew McIntyre interference coming. It cost, or Dolph Ziggler interference coming. It cost Drew McIntyre the match, which was a shock. I did not see Finn Balor walking out of this one with a win. I really get the feeling like they're going to push Drew McIntyre really hard after this. So,
I agree. I thought it was too short. I thought it was hyped up a lot, and it didn't come with the real hype. I give it a B-.
I think B- is fair. Really would have liked to see the Demon here, or at least more time on the card if possible. But we did get a little bit of backstage follow-up later on in the night.
Oh, yeah.
Finn Balor being interviewed about his victory. Dolph Ziggler shows up, says, hey, you won because of what I did. Finn Balor says, you're crazy or whatever. And Dolph Ziggler super kicks Finn Balor, knocks him into some boxes backstage. And that sets up a match for tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw, Dolph Ziggler versus Finn Balor.
Yeah, I don't know. Me and you were talking about it. If Dolph Ziggler would go to New Japan, he'd be over like anything. But I'm just kind of getting tired of seeing the same match over and over and over every week.
Yeah, and Dolph's kind of in that spot on the card where he is a good enough hand, right, in the ring. He's a good enough worker that he could have a good match with pretty much anybody that you put him in there with. But we're seeing him in there with pretty much the same people over and over and over again. And it's like I've seen the Dolph Ziggler match so many times now that I don't really want to see another one.
Right. I agree.
Hopefully, we see him tomorrow night with Finn Balor. Hopefully they got some chemistry in there and they can pull something off. So I'm looking forward to that. Also looking forward to see how Drew McIntyre responds to Dolph Ziggler's interference. There's some unanswered questions there as well.
That's true. They'll probably have a three-way match, I'd imagine.
It could be. We could see maybe some kind of triple threat at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah. So what was next on the card?
Next up, we have Rey Mysterio versus Randy Orton in a chairs match.
I had no interest in this match.
The build-up, the feud leading into this match, not a lot going on for me here.
It's just random. It was just random.
It didn't really. I mean, there wasn't anything on the line. There were no stakes to this match. It wasn't like there was a title on the line or that this was part of a great big feud that had been building for a long time. There were some interesting spots in the match. I mean, anytime there's a Rey Mysterio match, there's going to be some interesting spots. He did his little baseball slide out of the ring while sliding on a chair and then landed with the chair sandwiched in between him and Randy Orton. That was a nice little spot, I thought.
Yeah.
But again, that's the kind of stuff you expect in a Rey Mysterio match.
I mean,
overall.
I understand they can both main event.
Yep.
But I feel like this match should have been at the beginning of the card.
Yeah, it came. Well, here's the thing. I could kind of understand it where it is in the card because with a pay-per-view, I don't know the exact time, how long this pay-per-view ran, but when you're talking 3 to 4 hours worth of pay-per-view, longer with the pre-show, you need some point in the middle of that to let people calm down, take a bathroom break, get their nachos and stuff like that.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It was kind of one. Now, was there some chair shots? Yeah, there was some chair shots.
Yeah.
But the way it finished, a roll up off of a chair, I don't know.
So yeah, this was weird. You have a chairs match where chairs are legal to use as weapons, and it won't disqualify anybody. And so the finish had Randy Orton set up a line of 4 chairs in the middle of the ring, and it looks like he's going to slam Mysterio onto this row of chairs, but this gets reversed. Mysterio face plants Orton on one of the chairs. Orton sits down in the chair. Mysterio bounces off the ropes, jumps up, runs across these chairs that are lined up, does a head scissors leg grab like he's going to do a Hurricane Rana, rolls Randy Orton off the chair into a pinning combo, gets the 1-2-3, and that's it. And then basically runs away.
Yeah, I don't know. I give it, for the chair shots and stuff, I give it a C plus.
Yeah, it was a weird finish to a match that didn't have a lot of great build up to it. I think a C plus is pretty fair.
Okay, and I don't know. I wish they'd give. I used to love Randy Orton, and I still think he can go. I wish they'd give him more play.
Yeah,
but we'll see what happens there. We'll go on.
All right, next up. Something we can really sink our teeth into here. The Raw Women's Championship with Ronda Rousey defending the title against Nia Jax.
Oh, well, how do I feel about Nia Jax?
Let me guess. Not a fan.
I'm not a fan of whatever character they're trying to have her be. And she might be I'm sure in real life she's a precious woman and she's great. But, I don't know. I've watched her hurt all kinds of people and I'm not a fan of what she does in the ring.
I can't disagree with you on that. And, it's funny when you see these two in the ring together. Here you have Ronda Rousey, who's been a professional wrestler for less than a year. Right? And you have Nia Jax, who's been a professional wrestler for 3, 4, 5, 6 years. I'm not exactly sure. But substantially longer than Ronda Rousey. And Ronda Rousey is pretty much Rookie of the Year material. She is a better professional wrestler in the less than a year that she's been doing it than Nia Jax is, who's been doing it for significantly longer.
I agree. I'm not a big fan of Ronda Rousey because I think they overdid her because you got a woman fighting in the women's division who's put Triple H through a table, put Triple H in an arm bar. She's beat up Kurt Angle. She's beat up Corbin. Do you really expect any woman to beat her?
Well, that's a fault for WWE Creative for not building up the rest of the women's division to her level. I think it was kind of almost a foregone conclusion that she would come in as an ultimate badass type of character, and she did. The problem now is creating believable opponents for her, and Nia Jax has the benefit of the size disparity between the two. Like, you put the two of them next to each other, and yes, Ronda Rousey is an Olympic level martial artist and MMA champion, but Nia Jax is way outside of Ronda Rousey's weight class, so there is some believability there. But Nia Jax just doesn't, I think, have the in-ring ability to pull it off. And I think that was evident here. We saw some sloppiness. I thought Rousey looked fantastic in this match, as she normally does. She's great at what she does. And Nia Jax was Nia Jax.
The first match between them two wasn't bad.
Yeah, the Money in the Bank, yeah, it was a very good match.
I enjoyed that match. This match, I don't know. Ronda Rousey had some weird makeup on to begin with. I thought she was sick or something.
Yeah, the weird silver eyeliner that she had on tonight was weird. It just, the way it looked on camera, I don't know, it was odd. So
Rousey slaps the arm bar on Jax, and then I know you liked what happened next.
Well, that's the finish of the match. Ronda Rousey gets the armbar. There was attempted interference from Tamina, but Ronda Rousey chases her off. End result is, despite Jax's size advantage, Ronda Rousey wins. And Ronda had some pretty creative offense in there in the way that she maneuvered around and over and on top of Nia Jax throughout the match.
Yeah, she climbed her like King Kong climbed the building,
Yeah, it was impressive. Ronda Rousey's impressive in everything that she does in the ring, just about, when the microphone's not involved.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, yeah, she gets the armbar. After the match, we see Nia Jax walking around. We get a commercial, and then we see Nia Jax walking around Interviewer comes up to her, asks her some questions. Nia Jax refuses and walks away. And then Becky Lynch shows up.
The man.
The man herself walks up. You could hear the crowd go wild as they were watching it on the Titantron outside. Becky Lynch asked Nia Jax, "Hey, remember when you broke my face? And keep my name out of your mouth." And then Dexter sends her reeling into some equipment boxes backstage. I mean, just lays Nia Jax out. Crowd goes wild. I give that an A.
I give that part an A. I give the match overall, I give it a, I hate to say another C+, but that's how I felt about it.
I might give it a B- just because of how good Rousey is.
Okay, that's fair.
You know, I mean, everything that she does in the ring, she does it like she's been a professional wrestler her whole life. She just has the downside of having a reputation of being a real life badass ass kicker that the rest of the women have to be built up to.
I agree with that.
So WWE Championship match is next, and I think at this point we're seeing match of the night: Daniel Bryan, WWE Champion, versus AJ Styles.
Oh, the new, they're calling him the new Daniel Bryan. He looks psychotic. He looks like that damn devil goat. I don't know the name of the religion or whatever. He looks like that. But this match was, it was great. It was awesome.
Yeah, I think Daniel Bryan, this new direction that he's going, he was sort of lost, which was a damn shame as a babyface. Because when he came back, when he made his triumphant return at WrestleMania last year, I mean, it was the thing people were talking about and the thing people were interested in. And it was huge. The crowd loved him. Yes chants were still going on. They still remembered the Daniel Bryan that they fell in love with originally. And he went straight into a feud with Big Cass, who's not with the company anymore.
Big Cass.
And, yeah, remember that?
Wow.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Most people probably don't remember that. And then just kind of went nowhere for a while. Just drifted listlessly in the mid-card. Being mostly forgotten about, still getting good reactions. Crowd still likes him, but not doing much of anything match-wise. And then decides one day to kick AJ Styles in the balls and win the title. And now he is just, it's breathed new life into him. I mean, I want to boo him as a heel, which is what you should want as a heel. He's got that great, crazy-eyed, psychotic look to him, and he moves in the ring just like he always has, except with a little bit more ferocity, a little bit more tenacity, and just where Daniel Bryan is right now is a great place.
He has put in great matches ever since he's changed.
Yeah.
I mean, they have been top. Not the match with Lesnar was great.
But and that's the thing, getting a good match out of Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
You know, I think people forget that when Brock Lesnar wants to be, he can be a really good pro wrestler.
Right.
But it takes the right opponent to bring him out of it. Last year, it was AJ Styles. They put on a great match. This year, Daniel Bryan and Brock Lesnar, I think, put on an even better match. Just phenomenal.
It's just phenomenal, huh? It was phenomenal.
Yeah. But this match here, too, we had the phenomenal AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan. And it had sort of a slow build. I love Daniel Bryan using those old school heel tactics of staying away from the babyface, not giving the crowd what they want, because what the crowd wants is to see the babyface, beat the shit out of the heel. Daniel Bryan plays the keep away game until finally, when the moment's right, it gets in there and the match is on, and it stays on throughout the entire runtime. I don't think there was any real slow points in this match for me.
This was it was kind of a stiff match too.
It was stiff. It was deliberate. The selling was great. AJ Styles will make anybody look like $1 million as far as selling their offense. Bryan the same way, just chopping the shit out of each other. Some real stiff shots in the corners. Some great, beautiful submission work for both of them.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, when Daniel Bryan was trying to get that crippler crossface on and AJ was resisting, and then he just starts punching AJ in the face, that's how submission holds should work. If you're having trouble getting somebody into a submission, punch them, kick them, do whatever it takes, get them in that submission, make it look like you're really fighting for it.
Yeah, and a lot of people, they get lazy with that, and it is what it is.
Yeah. So I loved it. I loved everything about this match.
I do too. I suggest people listening, they should watch that match instead of just taking our little 3-minute bit about it. They should watch it and really enjoy it.
Yeah. There were some great high flying moves too that AJ put in there, which you can always count on AJ for. He's for his age, I think he's in his early 40s, still flying off the top rope with the 450 splash and the phenomenal forearms. Remember when he got thrown out to the timekeeper's area, jumps up onto the barricade, flies through the air to hit the phenomenal forearm.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Unfortunately, the finish was a bit of a letdown. Styles, he hit the phenomenal forearm again. He tried to follow up with another forearm inside the ring, but he missed. And then there was a roll-up attempt with a reversal, and Bryan gets the pin.
Yeah, they ended it with a small package. I thought they could end it with a, I don't know, maybe a cheap shot, some kind of, something.
Yeah, because they teased the ref bump, right? Yeah. Daniel Bryan almost threw AJ Styles into the ref, and I thought, okay, here comes the dick kick. AJ Styles still hasn't learned to wear a cup. But that didn't happen, and we got this weird roll-up reversal into a small package, and that was it. So kind of a letdown for what had been a fantastic match up to that point. I give it an A.
I give it an A too. Just a little note, I think it would be great to see Daniel Bryan go for a dick kick on like Nakamura, and then Daniel Bryan fall down and Nakamura reach in and pull out a metal cup.
Oh, somebody's got to at some point.
I think that would be a great segment. But then we went on to just...
on that real quick, we would also have to have the WWE remember that Shinsuke Nakamura actually works for them.
Right. Yeah, what the hell? He wasn't even anywhere to be seen.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. And he's the he's the United States title.
Yeah, and he's great talent.
Yeah, they're just not doing anything with him. I don't get it.
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like they just put people in the corner and let dust fall on them.
It definitely seems that way. So after this match, we had another backstage segment with Natalya and Ronda Rousey celebrating Natalya's victory. Interviewer pulls Ronda Rousey aside and asks her whether or not she plans on getting revenge on Charlotte Flair for what Charlotte Flair did to Ronda Rousey at Survivor Series with the kendo stick. Ronda replies, "There's an old saying, payback's a bitch, and I'm the baddest bitch on the planet," and she walks off. So a little bit of foreshadowing there.
Yeah.
But next up, I think we go into your second favorite match of the night.
Oh, God.
Intercontinental Championship with Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. Dean Ambrose winning to become the new Intercontinental Champion. What'd you think?
They built this match up so good. They built it up, and I was so into it, and I was ready for it, and this match was so fucking bad. Even the crowd was chanting, "This is boring." Yeah,
there was not a lot of energy in this match. Both of these guys are capable of putting on a better match than this. This was really slow, really deliberately paced. And maybe it's because it came after the AJ Daniel Bryan match, which was a real barn burner.
It was hard. It'd be hard to follow.
It's a hard match to follow, but even then, this match, I just think it never really got started. It was slow. It was deliberate. The spots that they hit were things that we've seen 1,000 times.
It's, we had this talk, and we'll go into it here because this is the best time to talk about it. When you look back at the old classic, the Legends, they done all the basic stuff to perfection. And when you do the basic stuff to perfection, when you land something big, it's amazing. It's something fantastic. When you do the Seth Rollins match that we see every freaking week on Raw, and he does the same moves and at the same pretty much time during the match, the same high flying, I don't know, shaky bullshit. Oh, I hurt my knee. It gets old.
Yeah, and I mean, you get your mandatory 2 suicide dives through the rope, your mandatory Falcon or superplex into a Falcon Arrow, that looks amazing but never wins a match.
Yeah, how do you superplex somebody and then sit there and give them the Falcon Arrow, like the Chinese Tekamaji Japanese driver or whatever, and the some bitch kicks out at 2?
Yeah, I don't get it, but we see it in every match that Seth Rollins is in, to the point where it's not even a high spot anymore. It's a signal that the match is almost over, because this is the final false finish before the real finish.
And then that fucking power bomb.
Oh God, that was so bad. So for those of you who didn't watch, and I don't think you should bother watching this unless you just really love these two guys.
It'll be on Botchamania. It'll be on Wrestling Dumb Shits for sure.
Yeah, so Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose are on the top rope. Seth Rollins slips down in between Dean Ambrose's legs, grabs him like he's going to go for the power bomb, but slips off and falls and lands on his butt. He grabs his knee, trying to sell that his knee gave out. Dean Ambrose just stands there like, uh-oh, he didn't do what he was supposed to do. What should I do? And then Seth Rollins stands back up, grabs him, and carries him across the ring and gives him a buckle bomb in the opposite corner.
Dude, as soon as I seen that, I said, fuck this match.
Yeah, it was bad.
That was so bad. It wasn't just bad. It was so bad.
And here's the worst thing about it. Let's pretend for a moment that that's exactly what was supposed to happen, right? That's what they planned to do.
Yeah.
In that case, that would be even worse because it looked so bad.
I just don't understand.
The benefit of the doubt by assuming that that's not what they meant to do, and but it was still bad.
I will give him credit on one thing. There was only one finisher in that match, and it got the 3 count.
Yeah, so Dean Ambrose, who's the only man in WWE who can hit a DDT and pin somebody off of it, hits the Dirty Deeds DDT and gets the 1-2-3. Dean Ambrose is your new Intercontinental Championship, for better or for worse. This should have been the feud of the year, potentially, right? Given the backstory of the Shield,
right?
The backstory with Seth having betrayed the Shield in the past, Roman Reigns having to take time off due to leukemia, Dean Ambrose snapping as a result of the Shield Brotherhood breaking apart. This should have had so much to it, and the payoff was just
shit.
Lame. And literally, the crowd was chanting at one point that this is boring, and that's not something I've heard in a long time.
No, it was. They need to do something. I give it. People might disagree. I give it a D+.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I might even go with a D.
I mean, it was miserable.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it. It didn't do anything for me. It just never got out of the starting gate, as far as I'm concerned. There should have been so much more intensity in this match between these two guys who should legitimately hate each other for what they've done to each other, and it just never felt that way.
I think I probably surfed Facebook most of the time during that match.
I think most of the crowd probably did.
So we give it a D+. Maybe other people got different opinions, but that's what we give it. But then we got the fucking main event.
The main event, as Becky Lynch, let me set this up, pointed out on in an interview earlier in the day, this is the first time that a women's title has main evented a pay-per-view. This is the first time that a SmackDown title has main evented a co-branded pay-per-view. And it's all because of what she's done.
Well, I gotta say, she's wrong. Because I'm pretty sure that Sasha Banks and Charlotte Flair main evented Hell in a Cell 2 years ago.
Yeah, but they were on Raw.
Okay, I agree with the SmackDown thing then.
Well, she said this was the first time that a women's match is main evented a co-branded pay-per-view where Raw and SmackDown were together.
Okay, I agree with that.
There is
that
then. Caveat.
I agree with that then.
Yeah. So I think I haven't gone back through and checked, but it's probably true. Because the women don't get to main event very often.
So this match, it was everything you wanted. Everything I wanted.
I think, when you look at this pay-per-view, this was the only match that could have been the main event, It was the right choice for the main event, and it had the right women in it for the main event. It was there was a high bar to cross after the Evolution pay-per-view match between Charlotte and Becky Lynch, and subsequently the Survivor Series match between Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. The Evolution match, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, was amazing.
Oh, yeah. 10 out of 10.
Easily match of the year candidate. So this match had a lot of expectations going into it. Tyler, did it deliver? Did it live up? Was it worthy of being the main event of TLC?
I give it 12 out of 10. I give it A+.
You give it A+. I gotta agree. This was a fantastic match. It was intense. It was physical. We saw some cool callbacks to that Evolution match with Becky Lynch almost legitimately killing Charlotte Flair after jumping up.
Oh my God! The fucking announce table didn't break.
Yeah. So to set this up for you guys, and if you're listening and you didn't watch this,
you need to watch it.
You need to watch it. It's a fantastic main event. Rest of the pay-per-view, I would watch the Cruiserweight match. I would watch the WWE title match with AJ and Daniel Bryan. And then I would watch this match because it was amazing. Charlotte Flair and Asuka are both laid out on the announce table.
Spanish announce table.
The Spanish announce table. Becky Lynch looks at a ladder that's nearby, decides it's not tall enough, goes, finds a taller ladder, climbs up to the top of it, leaps off of it. Asuka rolls out of the way at the last second so she doesn't get hit. Becky Lynch lands full force across Charlotte's ribs and bounces off of her. Then the table breaks.
Yeah, it was rough. I don't even know how else to describe it. It hurt.
I gotta give all credit in the world to Charlotte Flair for even getting up after taking that, because I can't imagine she doesn't have cracked ribs right now.
No, she's got bruises for sure.
Without a doubt. I mean, that looked so bad, so painful. An amazing looking spot, but it had to hurt.
I'll put it this way, because we don't want to give too much information. I want people to watch this match.
Yeah. That's the only thing that's the only detail I'm going to give away here.
If you like the Attitude Era and you like I guess we'll call it hardcore wrestling.
Not quite ECW hardcore.
Not quite ECW, but hardcore, and you like just something that feels authentic.
Yeah, that's the word.
This is the match you have to watch. All three of them. Well, we got to talk about the ending, but all three of them put on a show. I wasn't a big fan of the ending.
Well, spoiler territory. If you don't want to know, stop listening. Go watch the match. It's worth it. If you don't have the WWE Network, it's free for new subscribers, so you can go watch it for free, then cancel it. It's worth it just for that. So, be forewarned. Spoilers ahead. Asuka wins the SmackDown Women's Championship after Ronda Rousey comes down the ramp and kind of spoils it for Charlotte and Becky. So you got Charlotte, you got two ladders set up side by side underneath the title. Well, first there was only one. Charlotte and Asuka are fighting over it. Then Becky brings a second one, sets it up. Charlotte knocks Asuka to the ring, and then switches over to the second ladder and starts fighting with Becky. Then Ronda Rousey comes down the ramp, jumps in the ring, walks over to the ladder. As both Becky and Charlotte realize what's about to happen, Ronda pushes the ladder, it falls over, drops both Becky and Charlotte onto the top rope. They fall out of the ring, obviously with the wind knocked out of them. Ronda Rousey walks away, Asuka climbs the ladder, grabs the title, match over.
Yeah. And Ronda Rousey walks away. They made a heel turn right there.
God, I hope they realize that what they've done.
I don't think they do.
The smiley, friendly, waving, giving the glove to the kids Ronda Rousey that we see right now is gonna get booed.
Yeah, I just don't. But it sets up for what we think is going to happen anyway. Well, a couple possibilities. I think there's going to be a fatal four-way.
Well, there's a lot of different directions that they could go, and we'll find out once we hit the Royal Rumble, obviously. The theory is Becky Lynch wins the Royal Rumble, challenges Ronda Rousey instead of whoever the SmackDown champion is, if it's Asuka at that time. And then we get Becky versus Ronda, the match I think a lot of people really want to see at WrestleMania and potentially in the main event. And then that would also potentially set up a good storyline between Charlotte and Asuka, with Charlotte saying, hey, you didn't really win. I want my title. I'm the SmackDown champion. And then you would get a Charlotte-Asuka feud and get a WrestleMania rematch between the two of them. I think that way you get two top-tier WrestleMania main events out of this one storyline event.
I'm going to go far out on a limb, even though you're probably right. But I'm going to make the prediction that there's already 2 championships for women, right?
Right.
There's going to be a Universal Women's Championship between the 2 brands that only one will get to own, and they're going to have a fatal 4-way at WrestleMania, decide who it is. It's going to be Asuka, Charlotte, Becky, and Ronda.
I think that would be incredible too. The only downside there is we only get 1 match instead of 2 great matches. It would be cool. I don't think anybody would see that coming, to see sort of a unified women's title. But I think it's a cool concept.
Well, I think they'll keep the other 2 titles, but I think this will be, you defend it maybe 5 times, 6 times. Well, you know what? You couldn't do that, because if someone loses the title, then you can't have one Universal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it gets weird.
Yeah, so maybe just scratch what I just said.
Okay, so switching gears a little bit, Asuka is the new SmackDown Women's Champion.
Crowd loves her.
Crowd loves her.
Crowd loved her when she didn't get picked to go against Ronda Rousey.
True, she got a huge reaction. Do you think she'll hold that title all the way to WrestleMania?
I think she'll hold it till Carmella gets to see her again.
And there we are, back to Carmella. Carmella opened the show, and now we're talking about Carmella at the end of the show. God, I hope we don't see that again.
Boy, we can only imagine. Well, go ahead.
Do you think this helps? One last question here. Do you think this helps rehabilitate Asuka, given what they've done to her this year? Right, because she had those 2 stupid losses to Carmella. Then she got thrown in a go-nowhere, do-nothing tag team with Naomi. And now all of a sudden, she's the SmackDown Women's Champion.
I hope it does. I don't think the crowd ever lost faith in her. I think they lost faith in what the people were writing for her.
Fair enough, I agree.
Because when they was looking for that replacement after Becky got her face broke, whatever you want to call it, when they said Asuka, the crowd went wild.
They did. They loved it.
They never lost faith in her.
Which is, given what WWE did to her, I think it's pretty impressive, and I think they got something magic here.
And even though she didn't pin her, guess what? Asuka just beat the man.
It'll be interesting to see Tuesday night how that all plays out, won't it?
It will be.
Because I think for a little while, Becky was calling herself the champ, right?
Right. Now she's the man.
But she stuck with calling herself the man. I've noticed the past couple of weeks, she hasn't mentioned the champ as much as she has the man. And I think the man is the mindset that she has. So I still think we're going to see Becky Lynch as the man. And I still think we're going to see her at the top of everything the SmackDown Women's Division does, at least until she gets a chance to get her hands on Ronda Rousey.
I want to put this out here for people. Becky Lynch can't keep every pay-per-view going through tables and ladders and stuff. There's going to be some matches that aren't that high-flying.
True. And
so
she's got to live up.
People got to remember that these last 2 pay-per-views with her have been something special. And that when they get a more lower match, to not be upset about what happens.
So you think Becky Lynch's standard in-ring wrestling ability needs to step up her game there?
No, what I'm saying is for the crowd, the audience, when she does a match that doesn't have her going through a table or getting beat with a kendo stick, they need to remember that she can't do that every pay-per-view, that she's still given a good quality match. It's just that she's not going balls deep. You know what I'm saying?
She can't be Sabu.
Right.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
Right. Same with Charlotte Flair.
True. Both of those women have absolutely put themselves through hell to get to where they are right now. No doubt about it.
Oh, they
can't
have.
keep that up forever.
There's no one that holds a candle to them right now in the women's division.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the NXT girls, but they're not there yet.
No, but we could see some very interesting call-ups in the future that could really set the women's division on fire, I think, and talk about giving Ronda Rousey potential opponents who are believable. I think if WWE does it right, which there's no guarantee they will,
right,
I think there's a lot of potential there.
I agree. Well, for everybody, that was our review for WTF Wrestle Talk. I'm Tyler.
I'm Nick.
And we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening.